Today, you're going to discover the number one mistake that I see people make when they're diving into the world of A/B split testing, and I'll give you 2 solutions to this mistake that you can make sure you never make it again in your life. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so A/B testing. It's like the most foolproof way to make sure that you don't make a stupid mistake when you're trying to improve your conversions online. But there's a trap that people fall into. I fall into it, my wife falls into it, and everybody that I know falls into this trap until they put the correct controls in place. So let me explain this trap to you, and then I'll show you the solution to it. So if you're running a split test and you've got your time over here and you've got your conversion rate over here, let's say for simplicity you're running a variation test of 2 different variations. You've got yellow and red, and let's just say it's button color for all intents and purposes. So when you're starting out, let's say you're running it for 1 day, and you're just setting up at this test. You spent some time to go and think through your hypothesis, and you want to kind of track this like a hawk. And so at the end of day 1, you're going in and you're looking at your conversion rates, and you see that this guy here is converting at a whopping 10%. Like, you are super excited. This is a change you've made, and it's absolutely crushing it. Whereas this other variation is only converting at a 2%, right? Wah, wah. So you're like, okay, day 1 is over. I already found a winner. I'm going to go ahead and keep this guy and throw this guy to the wolves. He's dead to me. It's not working. I'm keeping variation 1. This is the mistake. This is the trap we fall into. Because what happens over time? So this is a very small sample size, and we're getting a couple of little technical terms here, but the amount of variations, the amount of impressions that have seen your page is not significant. It's not a statistical significance here so that you can say, okay, this is the better performing page. And what I see happen more often than not is, okay, maybe this goes on okay for a little while, for a couple of days, but then as time goes on, maybe it kind of converges down to this type of a range here, whereas this other variation, which started out absolutely stinking, maybe it can actually build up steam and stay around this level here, where if you had held on for a while, you'd realize this variation was actually the winner, and this guy was the one you should have gotten rid of. And this is just all about letting the data play itself out, letting randomness have its fun until it comes into that final statistically significant outcome, which you'll get if you give your test enough time to run and become significant. Now, this could happen, this entire scenario could happen. It could also be the exact opposite, where you have version A and version B, and he just goes off to the moon and he stays here, and you could have been okay selecting him on day 1. That could have been the right call. But here's the thing. If you go off of a sample size of a day or 2, you just don't know. And what you could be doing is actually shooting yourself in the foot, where if you make this mistake, and if you pick the wrong guy up here, it can hurt you every single day for the rest of your business until you switch away from it again. So that initial patience that it takes for you to kind of actually let the cards play out and decide, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? That patience you need is going to pay off in spades later on down the road as more and more traffic runs through your higher converting variation. So if that is the problem, then what is the solution? And I'll give you 2 different solutions. There's number 1 and there's number 2. Number 1 is the easiest, and it works well if your tool supports it, as well as if you're still getting there in terms of traffic. If you don't have all the traffic you need right now, this is my personal favorite. It's just called the set and forget method. And this is something that you can do inside of Thrive Optimize. I think it's inside Split Hero as well. And essentially what this does is you give your split testing software some conditions. You say, hey, I need at a minimum 14 days, and this is just an example, but you can set these however you want to. I need a minimum of 14 days, and I need a minimum of 1,000 views or impressions to the page, and I need a certain level of confidence of what's better or worse. And so here, let's just say we need a 95% confidence level, which is what that little fish looks like there. It's an alpha. So if these conditions are true, then take the winner. And what that does is it takes the human aspect, it takes the monkey brain out of the entire equation here, and it lets your software do the work. So what you do here is you get to live in creative land. You get to go through and think about, okay, this is version A, this is version B, this is version C. Maybe I want to do a headline change here. Maybe I want to do a video change here. Maybe I want to do an entire offer change here. It lets you kind of live in that creative world where I think you want to be in. And it says, okay, just toss it into the machine, toss it into the, whatever, and let it spit out the right answer. All you need to do is come check in on it every now and then, but don't touch it. Don't stop the test until these conditions have been met. And it allows you to come in and simply learn and simply see what's resonating with your audience. If you were convinced that maybe doing a video, that's supposed to be a video there, if you think that a video is going to be the winner and it totally lost, it totally tanked, there's a lot of lessons that you can learn there. So this is version number 1. The reason why I say this is great for most people is because if you have a ton of traffic, then you'll achieve the result quicker. If you have a less traffic, it will it'll achieve the result slower, but it'll still get there because these conditions will eventually be met. So this kind of works regardless of where you're at. But version number 2 is something that is when you really want to get into a structure. And if you have enough traffic to make this method work, I think this is also a solid way to go. And so what you can basically do here is, if you think about this is a calendar. It's not really a calendar, but let's pretend this is a calendar. You can essentially put in a structure where you know what your schedule is. And so if you have a specific set of key business assets, let's say you have a landing page, you want to make sure you optimize as much as you can, a sales page, maybe a one-time offer page, whatever, you get the idea. What you can do is you can set this up where this is week 1, this is week 2, and then you stop. And then this is week 3, this is week 4, and you stop. And what I'm doing here is basically saying you're able to run a split test here, and then run a second split test here. And you're running this on a calendar basis to where you know exactly when you need to check in on your tests, when you need to stop your tests, and when you need to go in and reiterate for test version number 2. This works if you have enough traffic, because sometimes if you have lower traffic, you won't have enough to actually know that when you come in on this day that you'll have enough statistical significance to run a second version. So you have to be careful with this one. And what I would recommend you do is start with version number 1, where you let the tool tell you when you've kind of reached that level, and you check to see at 2 weeks in, what is your current confidence level? Are you only at a 60% confidence level? You might want to let that test cook a little bit longer to make sure that it stays there and you don't get any of these reverse situations happening in that duration. So when you start to get to that point where you're like, okay, my traffic has reached a certain level, or maybe my ad spend has gone up to a point where I know that in a 2-week period, I can get some good data and some good confidence. This is a place I like to live in for a lot of my clients, because it gives me that routine where I know when to look at something, I know what I'm looking for, and I know what to do when it's time to kind of rinse and repeat that process. So that is a quick crash course on the mistake that I see so many entrepreneurs making when it comes to doing data-driven marketing. It's all about patience. And this is so hard in today's society, where we almost feel like penalized for being patient for things. We want instant gratification. I'm telling you, it makes sense in the short term. Let me just go and take that quick winner. But long term, your business will thank you time and time again if you show the patience, that self-restraint, to be able to listen to the data and make those smart decisions. I'm John from IncomeMesh.com. If you want to be able to do this for yourself, there's a current lifetime deal going on for Split Hero. There's a link in the description below where you can check it out. It's $97 for unlimited tests, unlimited traffic. You can run up to 3 campaigns at a single time, and you can do it on your website, your client's website, whatever you'd like to do. So if you want to learn more about that, go to IncomeMesh.com/SplitHero, and be sure to check out the rest of the content I'm doing on Split Hero to help you make the right purchasing decision for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and share it, like it, subscribe it, do that cool stuff you do. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.